Hey guys, welcome back. I'm your host with the most, Joe. This is Showcasing Stupidity. Today's little episode is going to be kind of an addendum to the post from yesterday about the Charlottesville nonsense. Now, the last few days, I have repeatedly run across a plethora of people who seem to be wanting to excuse the actions taken by the Nazi and white supremacist assholes by trying to deflect attention over to what the protesters were doing. And here's the issue with that. It's simple obfuscation. You're completely ignoring the larger issue here. And some of you realize that and just don't give a damn, and some of you, though, may not. And the constant bickering back and forth, well, what about Black Lives Matter and Antifa? Irrelevant. That side of the argument is completely irrelevant to the outrage caused by the white nationalist, which is, by the way, complete bullshit, but white nationalist movement. Motherfucker, there is no way you possibly fit under the heading of patriot when you are carrying around a flag that promoted an ideology that the entire world fought to stop. I don't understand why that's so difficult to understand. Well, they have the right to free speech. No, the fuck you don't. Your right to free speech only goes so far. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate that from the crowd. Now, specifically, your right to free speech has some major exceptions to it with regards to what you can espouse in public, especially at rallies, protests, formal gatherings, what have you. Nearly 100 years ago, the Supreme Court already ruled on this, Shank versus U.S. And the Supreme Court came up with what is known as the clear and present danger rule. Now, what that means is if your speech creates a clear and present danger, right, it's not protected anymore. And usually that is interpreted to mean insurrection against the government or inciting violence against others. A great analogy would be something known as the fire in a theater analogy. And what that is you stand up in a crowded theater full of people and yell, "Fire!" That's not fucking protective free speech, you dumb shit. That's gonna create a panic. People can or will die. If what you're espousing is the eradication of an entire fucking large group, any group for that matter, but especially large group of goddamn people, billions of people, your speech is not protected. And there are numerous reasons for that. Not only Supreme Court, but just basic fucking human decency and history. An entire planet, ideologies and philosophies that have nothing to agree on except Nazis bad, Nazis very bad, fascism bad, fascism very bad. Okay, so what you're attempting to make excuses for, and this is coming from the apologetics crowd, the people who want to make excuses for this kind of stupidity and say that, well, They did it because this other group did it. And well, that other group did it. Well, that other group did it. Bitch, please. That is such a bullshit way to look at it. And it's wrong. I mean, if you were supporting an ideology and a philosophy that demands millions of fucking people die because they do not fit very specific criteria, white, Protestant, heterosexual, and conservative. And even if you don't make excuses for it or don't condone it, but don't speak out against it, you were part of the problem. I'm sorry, my little cupcakes, but that's the truth. That's the fucking reality. If you see or even hear of this kind of thing happening and you don't speak out against it, you don't act against it, I don't give a damn what your excuse is. Right? Well, I don't think that. I don't say that. I don't believe that. Did you stand up when other fucking people were doing it? No. Well, fuck you. You are part of the problem. When you see injustice, you have a responsibility to stand against it. And while our system of laws, secular law, fuck you religious law bastards, secular law here, it's not perfect, and God knows it is rife, unbelievably convoluted with abuse. Our system does not allow you to have to sit back and claim moral superiority just because you don't follow this ideology of racism and genocide. You didn't speak against it. You didn't act against it. In nonviolent means. Do it the legal way. Don't do illegal shit. That just makes you part of the problem. Another part of the problem. It makes you another radical idiot. Radical idiots are radical idiots for a reason. They're dumbasses. Get over that one. Sorry. But getting back to the point I was making, if you don't stop it or at least speak against it or act against it, you are perpetuating the problem. That means you are part of the problem. I don't get why that's so hard for some folks to understand. Now, the apologetics crowd, y'all are a special kind of douchebag. You really are. You're a whole nother next level asshole. Because not only do you try to take a neutral stance on this, but you try to excuse the behavior and the actions and the words and the ideology of these fucktards by saying, well, they can believe whatever they want. Of course they can. But their rights only go as far as they don't impede upon others' rights. Mine, yours, the motherfuckers they're wishing would die. Jews, Catholics, blacks, Mexicans, Islam, Hindus, Chinese, it doesn't fucking matter. Now, another thing that I have noticed over the last couple days, and it's something I touched on briefly yesterday, or in the last video, and I'm really going to hit home on this one, is the whole argument of the Confederate flag not being a symbol of white supremacy, but being a symbol of Southern heritage. Okay, first things first. That's not the Confederate flag. It's one flag of the Northern Army of the Confederacy, Northern Army of Virginia specifically. The actual Confederate flag, 5 of them, I think. They have wonderful nicknames like Old Futility and Oh, what the fuck do we do? Whatever. Number 2, say what you want about states' rights and all these other reasons for why the state seceded. It doesn't change the fact that they were fucking traitors. It is impossible, and I do mean fucking impossible, to hold the Confederate flag in one hand, a Nazi flag in the other, and call yourself an American patriot. Bitch, where? Where? I mean, get this. See if this makes any sense to you. Carrying the flag of a group of fuckers, the entire world, including us, spent 5 years fighting and defeating. Is now supposed to be a symbol of your American patriotism? Bitch, please. My nutsack is more patriotic than your bullshit flag and your bullshit beliefs. The same holds true for that Confederate flag. Now, I personally do not have a real deep-seated emotion as far as that Confederate flag goes, but in looking at the big picture, and this is why I have to say what I'm about to say, looking at the big picture, that flag represents a time in the Southern past in which we were all traitors, we were murderers, and we were perpetuating the bullshit narrative that a state government's actions, no matter how inhumane and how completely antithetical to true American patriotic values, was a good reason to start a war. It was a good reason to pit brother against brother. It was a good reason to literally split our nation in two as far as the South was concerned. Now, the North didn't look at it that way, but that's a whole nother video. They refused to acknowledge a confederacy. Only the southern states that seceded thought they were a fucking country. Nobody else did. They were never acknowledged. As long as we perpetuate this, and not necessarily just perpetuate, but as long as we excuse and by our inaction condoning these fuckheads, we're not going to make progress. Don't get me wrong, racism is going to be around forever. There is no way to get rid of all racism. So, just remember that. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Bye.